What's your and everybody clapped story that's actually true? When I was 14, my dad got laid off from his job at the warehouse. He'd worked there for 16 years, and they let him go 2 weeks before Christmas because the company was downsizing. Mom was working part-time at a diner, and suddenly we went from barely getting by to not getting by at all. My little sister Emma was 8 and still believed in Santa. She'd been asking for this stuffed elephant she'd seen at Target for months. It cost $43, which might as well have been $400 for us. Every time we walked past the toy section, she'd point it out and talk about how soft it looked. Dad kept saying Santa would figure something out, but I could see the worry in his eyes. Mom started working double shifts, coming home exhausted with her feet swollen from standing all day. I heard them whispering late at night about which bills to pay and which ones to skip. 3 days before Christmas, I was walking home from school when I found a wallet on the sidewalk. Inside was $237 in cash, credit cards, and an ID for some guy named Kevin Walsh. My first thought was about Emma's elephant and how we could finally afford groceries that weren't just ramen and peanut butter sandwiches. But then I thought about how stressed my parents had been and how they'd raised me to do the right thing even when it was hard. I looked up Kevin Walsh's address on my phone. He lived about 2 miles away in one of the nicer neighborhoods where the houses had big front yards and Christmas lights that probably cost more than our monthly electric bill. I rode my bike over there practicing what I'd say. When I knocked on the door, this middle-aged guy answered wearing a sweater that looked like it cost more than my dad's monthly unemployment check. I handed him the wallet and said I found it on Maple Street. His face went from confused to shocked to grateful. He opened the wallet, counted the money, and looked at me like I'd just saved his life. Turns out, that cash was money he'd withdrawn to buy Christmas presents for his 3 kids, and he'd been freaking out all day thinking Christmas was ruined. He asked for my name and address, thanking me over and over. I told him it was no big deal and started to leave, but he insisted on writing down my information. I gave it to him thinking maybe he'd send a thank you card or something. Christmas Eve came, and Emma was trying so hard to be brave about maybe not getting her elephant. She kept saying Santa probably had a lot of kids to visit and might run out of toys. It was breaking my heart. We had managed to get her a few small things, some coloring books and a pack of crayons, but nothing close to what she really wanted. That evening, someone knocked on our door. Dad answered, and there was Kevin Walsh standing on our porch with his wife and 3 kids, all holding wrapped presents. Kevin introduced himself and told my parents what I'd done. His wife was crying, saying she couldn't believe there were still honest kids in the world. Their oldest daughter, who looked about my age, stepped forward with a huge wrapped box. She said they'd all gone shopping together to pick out something special for Emma. When Emma tore off the wrapping paper, it was the elephant she wanted, plus 2 other stuffed animals and a coloring set with like 60 different markers. But that wasn't even the best part. Kevin handed my dad an envelope and said his company was hiring for the holidays, and they needed someone reliable. He'd already talked to his boss about Dad, and there was a job waiting if he wanted it. Not just temporary either. They were looking for someone permanent.